Hi, welcome again to Soup to Nuts. My name's Brian Iarussi, along with my father, Oswald Iarussi. I'm going to cook a little traditional Italian meal tonight, as usual. It's going to be polenta with a little bit of meat sauce over it, and my father's going to start off making the sauce.
You notice this pan we have tonight is not a regular sauce pan. It's a nice little pan that I'll tell you about that a little later, where it came from. And this way you can probably see it, much better by having it shallow. It's much easier for me to work with. So we start by putting a little olive oil. Turns up one, and while that's heating, just a couple of these little garlic that Brian likes. How many you want tonight?
Throw them all of them in.
Not all of them. I'll put 3. This is another recipe that my mother and I, many years, 60 years ago or so, made and cooked. That's nice. You turn that down a bit. The polenta is very bland. Get that down? It's very bland. So what we have to do is get some flavor. What is polenta? Polenta is nothing but corn that's been ground into a different consistency. This polenta here, I buy from an Italian store. They're down enough, halfway. And it comes from Italy, so it's a nice, fine, heaviest texture than you would buy in the store. In the store, so you give a make a better polenta. Now, a little garlic. I put that in now because I don't want to burn it. You put a little of this mixture that I love, which is salt pork, and some parsley. Again, as I said before, polenta is kind of a bland, so we need something to give a little flavor. That will give a little flavor, as well as some butter. So you get the butter, the oil, a little salt pork, which are three ingredients that we use quite often back when we were cooking. Let that stay off the burner for a while. And we have some nice tender top it around here. So I cut this in bite size. We don't want to cut it too big, as Brian said on one of the shows. We don't want it too big because the children could choke if it's cut too thick. So we cut it bite size. And I won't use all this tonight because we're only going to serve 4 of us here tonight. We used to serve 6, but now it's only 4, so we cut back a little bit. And polenta, like I was saying, was something very inexpensive. In those days, we had to find meals that didn't cost too much money because we didn't have the money. So polenta was one of them. I did some other shows, and I showed you some of the other things we made. So it's a very nice dish. And with this meat and some of this pork I'll put into it and make a nice sauce.
How did you get the polenta when you were little? Did you guys have to grind it up?
No, they used to have it in bags. I think, again, it must have came from Italy, because we used to have some Italian stores we used to go to. There used to be a few of them around, and one of them, I think, one of them was in Milford.
No, I'm talking about when you were little in Italy.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Where we bought it?
How did your mother have it in Italy?
Well, in Italy, they had it there all the time because they were farmers. They had.
Yeah, but did she grind it?
Well, they probably grind it like they did, like the Indians did. Remember? Now, back on here, You stir this around a little bit. You know, looking at this, a lot of people probably say will say that it's high in cholesterol with the butter and with the salt pork. But you know, we had a doctor friend in our family. Just passed away about a year and a half ago. He was in his 80s. He practiced until he passed away. He had open heart surgery, never came out of it. So when we used to have our meals together, he would say, you know, you got to watch out for your cholesterol because it's very important that, you know, it doesn't clog up your arteries and so forth. So I said, well, one day we went to Dunkin' Donuts, the wife and I, and we were up to the counter. We ordered a coffee and a low-fat muffin. We wanted to make sure we watched our cholesterol. We walked to the back to sit down and to have our coffee and our muffin. There was the doctor. He was probably he was around 80 years old at the time, sitting there having his coffee. He had the two most beautiful donuts I ever saw. That's the doctor. Donuts? He said, well, he said, you know, he says, you people should do as I say, not as I do, he says. So once in a while, I said, you have to go out and have a nice donut. So he said, here, go help yourself, have another donut. So I went up, I got a donut for myself. So cholesterol, as far as I'm concerned, is really, really overstretched. I think myself, the main thing is in moderation. That's one of the things important as far as your health. But the number one culprit, I think, is smoking. So if you can cut the smoking and don't get too heavy and do some exercise, a donut once in a while won't hurt you. And neither will this meal right here. So that's just about where I want it. So now I'll take a can of this tomato paste and put that in there. And I use tomato paste. You notice I don't use tomatoes. I've made sauce with tomatoes, but today we're just going to make them with tomato paste. My mother used to make it with tomato paste. She would say, Ozzie, this makes a nice sauce. So you just stir that around a little bit. And I think I might have to use another can. This is the first time I use this. I use this beautiful pan here, so I'm not accustomed as to how much I should put in here. So I'll just put the other one in here. Put this back. We have some water there. But just catch a little bit to the bottom of the pan, a little bit. And then you add, you notice I haven't put the pork in yet because the pork is cut rather thin and the beef takes a little longer to cook. So I just put that in about 5 to 10 minutes. You notice that I just starting to stick a little bit to the pan at the bottom, and that's what I want. Now I put 2 cans of water, 2.5 to 3 cans of water per can of tomato paste. I need some hot water, right? So there's about 2 cans in here now. You stir that around. And Brian, give me another, about 2 cans or so, Brian. And put that over here now, just mix it in slowly. This makes a nice sauce, very simple. All you need is tomato paste. We had a function over to our church last Saturday. We fed 250 people, and I cooked for 250 people. So no big deal because with my large family, there's always 12, 14, 15, 20 people at the table, so it was no big deal for me to cook for 250 people. And I made the sauce like this with the nice tomato paste, and it came out beautiful. Now I'll add a little more water here. Turn this up all the way.
How much?
All the way. A little more water. I can add a little more water there as time goes on, which I think I will need as...
This boiling enough?
Did you lose some of the water on that? You have 4 cups there, you think? Well, what I'll do, Brian, when I get this going, we'll take that water out and just make sure you have the 4 cups. Brian's going to make polenta. And polenta, made when I was making it many years ago, took almost an hour. Polenta in the water and stir, watch it doesn't stick, and stir. We're going to make it in 15 minutes here, and just as good as it was back then where it took an hour. So we're going to do that. Be sure to do that in a minute. This is coming nice. Just all the way up?
Yep.
All right. Now you can see if you get 4 cups of water in there. You need 4 cups of boiling water.
Can you dump it in here?
Yeah, get it up in there. And put it back in. Yeah. Let that simmer, and we got a nice sauce to go with the polenta. You have 4 cups?
No.
Turn 4 cups of boiling water.
Turn that down?
Turn it down halfway, yeah. Now this will simmer, and then in about 5 minutes, I'll put the pork in there, and that'll only take about 15 minutes to cook because, it's, like I said, it's cut very thin. Then I show what I do at the end to make this sauce very nice to go with the polenta. You want to say it? You want to start making the polenta now?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, to make the polenta, I had 1 cup of cornmeal into a bowl on the side. 1 cup of tap water, regular water. Then salt, which is behind you. Teaspoon?
Teaspoon?
No.
Teaspoons of, let me say.
About that much in your hand.
Teaspoon.
Then you're going to mix it in, mix it around a little.
Mix it around, that's right. Very good, Brian. So it dissolves, right? Wait till this is boiling now before you put that in there.
Okay, we're going to let the water boil right now, but that's basically all you do for that. And once this water boils, we'll add it in, and we'll stir it in until it gets thick. And we'll add some more on the side.
It's on high now, Brian? It's high, right? Mm-hmm. All right. All right, so now the sauce looks nice. That'll simmer for about 15, 20 minutes. The meal will cook by then. I can put my pork in there now. Oh. I didn't cut it because it's very thin. And we can serve one of these slices with each portion of polenta.
I'd like to say a few things to the people that comment to us, or me and my father. I must have run into 5 or 10 people last week that said, "I love your show, it makes me hungry." Well, for those 5 to 10 people, I want to, next time I bump into you, I want to hear you say, "I love your show, and I ate, and I tried it, and I really like it." Because that's the whole point behind our show, is to, 1 is the joy for cooking, and 2 is I enjoy watching other people eat it and try it more than I like to eat it myself. So when I hear people say that they've tried it and liked it, that's the best compliment I can get.
Now that's an easy sauce to make. I could have cut the pork in pieces, bite size, the same size as the beef. So when you eat your polenta, you're gonna just serve this off with a small piece of beef and a small piece of pork, without having to worry about cutting up the pork. But this will be fine. This will work out. Actually, it'll probably start falling apart because, like I said, it's cut so thin that it's not a bit of thick chops. So This will be done in about 15 minutes. That's not boiling yet. And while that's ready to boil, I think I'll tell you a story about growing up way back 60 years ago. Like I said, there's always a lesson to learn in these stories I tell. And people love them. They tell me, I love the show, I love the cooking, I love those stories that you tell about growing up in those days. My father was sickly, so my mother took over as the breadwinner. She had to fight for everything she had to, and she was, so, you know, as far as the meals and so forth, she had to make sure where the money's coming from. So one day she was in Framingham shopping, and she was coming back from Framingham. We lived in the Tripoli section of Framingham. The Tripoli section of Framingham that most people are confused with starts from Corner Road, which is across the street from Monarch Supply. That's Corner Road. And it starts there and goes all the way up to where the La Cantina is, in that area there. That's the Tripoli section of Coltonville. The other section, going down toward the Union House, is a different section, right? And it's not that was Coltonville section. But up on the other side was the Tripoli section. So she was coming home one day, walking from Framingham, looked up by the St. Tarsius Church. She was probably about 200-300 feet from there, and she saw a woman carrying 2 heavy shopping bags. And she'd walk about 10-15 feet and put the shopping bags down and rest for a while and pick up the bags again, and off you go another 15 feet and put the bags down. So my mother caught up with her after a while, and she says, I don't have anything to carry. She says, you mind if I help you? The woman says, oh, that'll be fine. So they introduced each other, and my mother helped her to carry the 2 heavy bags to her home. So when she got there, I said, by the way, what's in these heavy bags? He says, they're filled with all kinds of pastry. Pies and cupcakes and toasty, all kind of pastries. My mother says, what much you pay for them? She says, 50 cents a bag. 50 cents a bag? She says, I've got some money. Could I buy some of those? She says, sure, go down to the store, tell them I sent you. It's the old bakery, the old pastry. And she said, I'll go down. My mother walked down, introduced herself. Could I buy some of those goodies that the woman just bought from Mueller's for 50 cents? Sure, she says. How many bags you want? I'll take 2 bags. Mother was strong, so she carried those 2 bags home. When we came home, she emptied those bags on the kitchen table. When we came home from school, we couldn't believe our eyes. All kinds of pastries. We didn't have that many pastries when we were growing up because, you know, she made cakes, but nothing compared to these things here. Whoopie pies, my favorite. The whoopie pies there, says, my father said, Louisa, you are something else. She says, you have to have $5 in your pocket all the time. What she's trying to say is, how many times you go out with people, either to a restaurant or shop or whatever, and they say, I don't have any money, I forgot my money. Even well, I don't want to get into this, but some of my family members. So she would say, always have $5 in your pocket, because you never know when something like this might come up. Put in today, that $5 will probably is maybe $100. So you put $100 away, or maybe $200 away. So if a good deal comes up sometime, doesn't have to be cakes and so forth and so on, but something might come on, you might want to buy something. If you don't have the money, you can't buy. So always have $5 in your pocket, you would say. Is that boiling?
Pretty much.
Is that all the way up?
Yep.
So if that's boiling...
I don't know why it's not boiling, but...
Not boiling, man. So why don't you put that in now? Maybe it's just start to take off.
Okay, so I'm going to add the mixture in all at once.
Make sure it's stir around, make sure it's nice and no lumps. Stir it around. You put a cup of water in there?
Yep. No, it's lumpy.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. It can't be lumpy, otherwise it'll come out lumpy. So, if anything, I would put a little more water in there. We don't want that lumpy, because you know if they're lumpy, Brian will be lumpy. That's it, that's it. All right, now you can pour that in there. Hit you?
No.
Now, if this is boiling, when this boils, you turn it down to just simmer, so it just simmers. And if it's too watery, you just keep adding a little bit of this cornmeal into the boiling water. In about 15 minutes, in this case probably about 20 minutes, you'll have a nice polenta. So maybe you can put it on this side where it's boiling.
No, it's all right.
It's all right?
Yeah.
All right.
It's almost boiling.
Well, a lot of people will say polenta, you know, I can eat that, but most people, you know, children especially, they all like corn. Corn in the summertime with the salt and the butter. You can see them now. They all, I don't think there's one that doesn't like corn. So this here is the same as corn, ground corn. Just a ground corn, like a cornmeal. You can sprinkle something in there right now. And I'm sure with this delicious sauce and that corn and the polenta, we make a nice dish. Lumpy? No.
No.
All right. You gotta sprinkle it. Keep just sprinkling it like that, all the way around, all the way around. Beautiful, see? All right, just stir that around. Now there's another way you can make this that a lot of, actually I gave a woman, 2 people a recipe this past week. I told them we'd be making polenta. There's another way to make this. If you want to make it in the microwave, you can make it in 5.5 to 6 minutes. And there's a wonderful woman from Framingham.
Turn this down.
Yeah, turn it down so it just bubbles like that, right? Keep stirring and keep putting some more in every so often. Andy Thomas told me about this a few years ago. So all you do is take a dish, put a cup of cold water, a dash of salt, or if you want to use chicken broth, that's even better. A cup of chicken broth, put it back in the burner, and keep stirring it a little more. So a cup of cold water or chicken broth, a dash of salt, and 1/4 cup of cornmeal. Stir it around. Microwave it on high for 3 minutes. Take it out, stir it around, put it back in for 2.5 to 3 minutes. You have to judge yourself as to the texture you want. I like mine kind of firm, so I go around 6 minutes in all. Take it out, keep stirring. Take it out and put some nice sauce right from the refrigerator, because when you take it out of the microwave, it's very hot. So the sauce from the refrigerator, within a minute or so, will incorporate the heat from the polenta.
Need to add more in here or no?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So and it takes only a few minutes, and you get a nice dish for lunch. See little bubbles like that? That's just what you want. It's just barely moving. And I can see I need quite a little bit more here because we put more water in the first mixture. This will thicken up.
This is what the bag of cornmeal looks like when you buy it at the store. Straight from...
I know.
It comes from Italy. We get it at the Italian store. So you want to buy this. You don't want to buy this stuff in the supermarket because this makes it a little more coarse and thicker.
I know some of my Italian friends out there going to say, no, you can't do it in 15 minutes. It takes me 45 to an hour. Well, all I can say to you, my dear Italian friends, is just try it. Just try it, and I'm sure the next time I see you, say, you know something? You're right. It came out beautiful. It saved us a lot of time. And you know, with this here now, there's quite a lot here tonight. What you can do with this, when you serve this, you can serve it. I'll show you after how I serve it. Some children, when you make macaroni or spaghetti or whatever with the red sauce, today's children a little fussier than we were back when we were growing up, because when we were growing up, see, it's starting to thick up nice now. Almost there. When we were growing up, whatever was put on the table, we ate. We didn't say, well, we don't want polenta, we want ziti, or we want spaghetti, or whatever. Whatever was put on the table, we ate. But today's children, I see it, they don't want it, so the mothers will cater to them, and they'll make a special dish for them, you know, because I guess they love them so much that they just cater to them, you know. So this thing here, if they don't like it with the sauce, this is just about done. Put one more. If they don't like it with the sauce, another way you can serve it, if you want to make a nice dish, is to take it, put it in a bowl, put some butter in it, mix it around, and if you have some melted butter, put some little melted butter on top of some cheese, and it's out of this world. And this thing here, next day, when we make this polenta today, when we serve it, if it's left over, you can shut this down, right? You see right here? That's polenta. There. The next day, if you serve this, you have to have a non-stick pan. You take the polenta and put it in a non-stick pan. Even this thing here, if you don't have enough sauce, just take it and put it in a bowl and save it, and slice it in pieces. Maybe about this big. Some butter, non-stick pan, brown each side. Goes nice with a side dish, whatever you'll be serving. So I think we had a break.
Take a break now. When we come back, we'll show you how we serve the polenta with the sauce and the meat. And then we'll be ready to eat it. Be right back. Hi, welcome back. Right now my father's showing you how to serve the polenta if you're going to serve it for a few people at dinner.
Just put a good portion of it in a spoon. Put in the platter.
First thing is to put sauce on the bottom of the pan. Coat the bottom of the platter so it doesn't stick.
And then you take some of the meat and the sauce and you pour it over the top. And you can put one of these in here somewhere. One of these. And sawdust to it. It's a nice sauce. Goes nice with the polenta. You put some more of the sauce in the bowl. If some people want more sauce with their polenta. And then you're going to have some cheese. And a little bit of this. And the president and the Pope aren't eating better than we were tonight. This is beautiful. Salad, just this simple lettuce with some olives and some cheese blended into it, olive oil and vinegar, with salt and pepper. And that's it.
Okay, once again, I'd like to thank you for watching. And if people out there don't understand why I didn't talk much, you know, it's because my father, once he jumps in, it's all over. So my plan tonight was to make the polenta, but as you can see, just like it is at home, once he jumps in, there's nothing you can do, so I just stand back and watch him. I learned, though, so that's a good thing.
Many years ago, my father taught me my trade. He says to me, I'm going to teach you the trade, but you do two things. I said, what's that, Joe? I want your eyes and ears open and your mouth shut, and I'll teach you the trade. Now, you did very well tonight, Brian.
All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time on Soup to Nuts.